allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome again to the March 14th board meeting. Linda, can you please take roll call?
Trustee McClafferty.
Here.
Shaughnessy.
Here.
Snagowski.
Here.
Stapleton.
Here.
Kittredge. Here. Maher.
Here.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up, we have the consent agenda. We have several items on here, so please hang in there. We have the approval of minutes for the February 21st Committee of Whole. We have the March 3rd Strategic Planning Session minutes. We have approval of disbursements from March 1st through March 14th. We have Resolution R-09-22 for improvement under the Illinois Highway Code for McCarthy Road Bike Lane use of Rebuild Illinois funds. We have an ordinance O-07-22, amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 504.060 for alcoholic beverages. We're decreasing the number of B1 liquor licenses. In addition, we have ordinance O-08-22, amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 504.060.b for alcoholic beverages, again, decreasing the number of Class A3 liquor licenses. That relates to H&H Family Restaurant. We have an ordinance O-09-22, amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 504.060.b for alcoholic beverages. This is decreasing the number of Class A3 liquor licenses that related to the Lamont House Restaurant. And we have, lastly, ordinance O-10-22, amending the Lamont Municipal Code, Chapter 5.04, Section 5.04.060, alcoholic beverages. This is increasing the number of A3 liquor licenses for Matt's Barbecue. We need a motion, please.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Kittredge, seconded by trustee Snagowski to approve the consent agenda. Any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, I got a
Go ahead, Rick.
couple, John. Mainly because it's just out of context. I was not here at the meeting, but there's some questions attributed to me. So I thought I'd wait till tonight to make sure everybody heard that, because you might know who said it. So this was, Snagowski asked what happened if a community defaults in the Joliet Regional Water Commission water contract. Somebody asked that question. Okay, it's Shaughnessy. So that needs to be corrected, because I wasn't here that day. Also.
It's a good question. We're trying to give you credit.
I got, yeah, I would generally take that. I do
Begins
have one other
begins with an
question.
S.
I could call on more detail about this, but just, it stuck out at me, so I thought I'd bring it up. This is in the comparison between the delivery point at Bell Road and 131st for American Water and the Joliet Region connection, which would be at 131st and Derby. Under the Bell Road connection, the Illinois American one, it says the total cost is $13 million. Under the Joliet Regional Commission, it says the total investment is $65 million. But then there's a comment that says the rates for the two Lake Michigan options are similar, extending into the year 2050. 65 million versus 13 million doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know if the numbers are wrong or if the comment's wrong, but there's a big difference between those two numbers. So they're not the same. You know, which is it? So I'm just questioning the numbers, because the comment does make sense if those are the numbers.
Whose comment?
It's just a comment here. It
It's
just
really-
says-
Wasn't that the all-in cost over time?
Yeah, it's tough to follow those meetings, and I
Okay.
gotta give credit to the minute takers. You know, I think they're half true in that the Joliet pipe is for a 100-year build, and the Illinois American pipe potentially has to be reconstructed within 30 years.
Okay.
So all intents and purposes, they're about the same, but you know, we're talking about millions of dollars, so we can't really. But no, we'll put more information out on our website just to clarify those.
Well,
numbers.
just, This is a big deal, and
Understand.
if these numbers come back into play, it should be clear. So right now, it's about a $45 million difference. That's not the same. So what, if it means there's additional cost, then we should have that number in there.
I think the comment's just taken out of context, because there's
Should we
two
just strike it?
sections. We can strike it for now, and then we
Okay.
could, yeah.
Clarify.
It has to do actually with the rate too, because if the Illinois American does not receive any discounts, then their rate component is gonna be higher. and
Chris,
then
I'm not
some-
asking about the particulars.
I-
I wasn't here again, but
yeah.
I'm just saying, something's not right with either the numbers
we're-
or the comments.
What we'll do, I think that
Okay.
We get a
the,
chart on the board
the-
that we were. that
the
we-
detailed minutes aren't necessarily needed. We'll strike that from the record, and we'll post the actual reports online.
Just in case you go back to it, then you got it.
Well, I mean, the video's out there, so,
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it.
thanks, Rick.
That was it, thanks.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Stapleton.
Yes.
Kittredge. Yes. Maher.
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. All right, next up, under the mayor's report, we have a public hearing on the fiscal year 2023 proposed annual operating budget. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved. Second?
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Maher, seconded by trustee McClafferty at exactly 6:37 PM. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. Chris, you want to take this
Darshana?
for Darshana? All right.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this budget is for fiscal 22-23. It's for 34 million. And this is our next step in the budget approval process, is our first public hearing. We will hold another one on April 11th. The budget is on the website. It's been there since March 4th. And that was it, right?
And
Was there one more?
we'll be discussing it on March 21st, the entire budget with the board. We'll be discussing it.
Okay. And that is during the committee of the whole? Got it. Okay. So this is kind of standard procedure, first of two public meetings. We'll talk more in depth on the 21st and then have another one on April 11th, correct? All right. And again, it's out on the village website. So thanks again for at least the initial stab at that, right? And anything else to add?
Just to clarify, I know the number out there for the budget was around 34 million, but that is all funds. The majority of it is capital, including this year. 12.5 million in the water and sewer fund. That'll include the bond funds that we just issued to install the water tower later on this year, later on this fiscal year. So majority of the funds are in capital, but the total figure is around 35 million. Right, Chris? Thanks. But
34, yeah.
34 million, and we'll discuss it in more detail next Monday.
All right, great. Okay, so any public comment on this? Open it up.
Now's the time. Anybody?
Jerry?
Seeing none?
All right. All right,
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
okay. We have a motion, trustee Snagowski, seconded, I think I heard Ron Stapleton, trustee Stapleton. Roll call, please.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Snagowski.
Yes.
Stapleton.
Yes.
Kittredge. Yes. Maher.
Okay, motion approved. Mayor's mentioned, we only got one thing. Everyone, happy St. Patrick's Day this coming Thursday. I wore my green shirt. I'm half Irish, so I'm half Polish too, so I say I'm half right, so. But, no, we had a great parade Saturday before last. Thank goodness it wasn't this past Saturday. It was a little bit chilly. I think we hit about 65 degrees, so it's great to see everyone out. I want to thank the staff, Linda, for organizing it, and I can definitely say, and myself included, we all had a good time. So, again, wish everyone happy St. Patrick's Day. With that, we're going to move on to the clerk's report.
And
Linda.
I have to thank Donna Pacina. She does most of the organizing. Okay, ordinance 01122, annexing to the village of Lamont approximately 8.81 acres located at 1265 McCarthy Road in Lamont, Illinois.
Okay, we need a motion,
moved.
please. Okay, motion by trustee Stapleton, seconded by trustee Maher. Jason, are you taking this one?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, before you is an ordinance to annex this piece of property. Most people know it, driving by on McCarthy. It had a home and some bridges and other outbuildings over the years. New owner has demolished those and is proposing a single home on the site. So there's no annexation agreement since there's no development proposed. It's just going to be coming into the village at the R1 zoning district.
Awesome, thanks, Jason. Any other questions or comments on this? All right, roll call, please.
McClafferty?
Yes.
Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Kittredge? Yes. Maher?
Yes.
All right, motion approved.
Ordinance 01222, granting certain variations to 17630, 17710, Table 17701, 171230, and 171350 of the Lamont Unified Development Ordinance to allow development of the property with construction of a single-family home, detached garage, and improvements at 1265 McCarthy Road in Lamont, Illinois.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee, I think, Kittredge. Jason, you want to take this as well?
Sure, yeah. A lot of numbers there, but what that means is 3 variations. So a slight variation for height. We allow 37-foot tall homes in residential districts, and this one will be 42 feet. The construction of a attached and detached garage, the other being used as a storage shed for yard equipment, and finally, the repair, replacement, and addition of a 5-foot tall fence. This went to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in February and had a unanimous recommendation to approve.
And again, this is all on 9 acres of property.
Well, yeah, yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful
We asked him to
building
build
from
a
what we've
couple extra
seen.
homes for us, but he didn't want to, so we will gawk and admire at it. We'll be there, I'm sure.
No, it looks beautiful, at least on paper. What's the ETA? You going to start construction, or? I hope to have something submitted this week. Awesome, awesome. Well, good luck, congratulations, and, well, congratulations after this vote, maybe. So, let's see how it goes down.
He had a great attorney.
There you go, absolutely. Any other questions, comments? All right, roll call, please.
McClafferty?
Yes.
Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Kittredge? Yes. Maher?
Yes.
All right, motion approved. Good luck, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Ordinance 01322, amending 92820 permit conditions for grass fires and open burn fires.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion by trustee McClafferty, seconded by trustee Snagowski. Who's taking this one?
Chief's got it.
Oh,
from-
go ahead, chief.
Go ahead, Chief.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are currently no process that exists for permitting open burns, and occasionally various entities such as the Lamont Township and the Quarry Restoration Committee occasionally conduct controlled burns in areas under the control. We have ordinance on the books for permitting grass fires, although I can't see that we've ever actually issued such a permit. So before you is an ordinance that would expand the village and fire department oversight of permitted burns. Since the fire department is not a municipal entity, they have no permitting process on their own. So I'm going to read the proposed ordinance and to what it says if we want to start permitting open burns in Lamont. So it's under 9.28020 to permit conditions for grass and open burn fires. And the ordinance will read, it is unlawful to start or maintain any grass or open burn fire in the village without first securing a permit from the mayor and the board of trustees. The chief of police, in consultation with the Lamont Fire Protection District Chief, shall approve each permit, and he shall inform the applicant of the issuance of the permit. Each permit application shall include an approved permit by the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency and shall be approved by the Lamont Fire Protection District. Our attorney has looked at this language and feels that this new permitting process will protect us from controlled burns that occur in the village. And as you've heard, that they'll have to first get a EPA permit that describes their burn, and it's a pretty in-depth process. Attach that approved permit then to the Lamont application, and then myself and the fire chief will review prior to issuing the permit. So that's before you. We recommend adoption of that ordinance, and we think it's a pretty comprehensive document as far as the application process.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions, comments?
How long does it take to get the EPA permit? Is that like a, really?
I just was wondering what prompted the permit process? What was it that came up? I mean,
Someone
we
doing
get,
it?
we get complaints about unincorporated, they're burning their leaves and
There was an
can't do
issue
it.
with the forge. The forge wanted to do a controlled burn, and we had to make sure that we
Okay.
had all of our, as often, when circumstances warrant, they kind of point to holes in our code, so that's what it did.
Okay.
So they'll have no issue going getting an EPA permit? Or?
Well, they're already doing that.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Yeah, and we would be the only local permitting agency, but we wanted to make sure that they followed a set of standards that is established by the EPA, and once we see that document, we can permit the open burning.
So the township, I know they did it in the fall, right? Is that the same?
Yeah, they might have actually, or they probably already had an EPA permit. A lot of times for these conservation-type burns for naturalized detention basins, it's part of the process for your contractor, is that they will go and procure that permit.
Sure, the fire department will require it, wouldn't they?
Does the
Correct,
Park
yeah.
District do it as well, don't they?
They do, they have a couple sections they do it, and they more than likely have a permit.
Just make sure they know as well, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. All right. All good? Thanks, Chief. Roll call, please.
McClafferty?
Yes.
Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Kittredge? Yes. Maher?
All right, motion approved.
Ordinance 01422, authorizing execution of a license agreement between the Village of Lamont and Matt's Barbecue LLC, DBA Matt's Barbecue.
Need a motion, please.
Second.
We have a motion by trustee Maher, seconded by trustee Kittredge. George, are you taking?
Yeah,
this?
I'll start it, then turn it over to Mike. A timely topic for Lamont in our business community and staff, but also the communities around us. You're starting to see the issue as we move on beyond COVID of regulating the utilization of outdoor space that is opened by the city or village. We have village, lots, sidewalks, open space, canal reserve strip property. There's all sorts of village property that over the last 2 years we've been open to working with the businesses on utilizing so they can stay open. It's something that's not certainly going away, so we wanted to start a new program of licensing each and every one of these. We only have one here tonight, but we started with the template that Mike Stillman in his office has been drafting, talking to Jason and myself about coming up with a template going forward. Tonight, the first one is Matt's Barbecue. We didn't want to hold them up any further. They're looking to open later this spring. With the primary goal would be to ensure that village is covered in terms of liability provisions and just having an inventory of all the property that we are allowing the business community to utilize. So, Mike, you want to go ahead and go through your template document as it pertains to this project?
Sure, thanks, George. So this is this is not unique to Lamont. This is something that a lot of municipalities are encountering in the post-COVID world. People like to eat outside. They found that they like to eat outside. I think even in the post-COVID situation, they're going to want to continue to eat outside. So what you have is a good problem, actually, to have, is you have a kind of a vibrant area with restaurants and bars that want to use every opportunity to be outside on sidewalks, and now they've gone onto village property. But I would point just locally, you have Downers Grove that is, put a program into effect that is licensing. You don't want to ever lease property, because when you lease it, that gives the restaurateur, the owner, a property right. And then therefore, if you will look at the template that Jason and I have worked at together, we have the ability at any time, based on this document, and this is for the Matt's property on the parking lot, we have any time to do a temporary request of a takedown or a full takedown at any time,
With or without cost?
with or without.
We could stop it.
Right,
Got it.
absolutely. So we gave that to them, and they haven't said anything. I do want to clarify, there have been a couple of questions I've had. The first one I would like to say, well, where's the cost? I mean, that's probably what's the cost to do with the license? If you look in paragraph number 1, what we did is we don't want to rush this, because it is such a, it's ever-changing. I mean, Park Ridge, there was an article in the Chicago Tribune just at the end of January where they were trying to figure out, okay, now what we want, all these businesses, they don't want to just have seating on the sidewalk, they want to go onto the street. So not much different than here, the parking. So they're going through an inventory, and they're trying to figure out, but from what I saw is they want to do a nominal cost. Arlington Heights has done the same thing. They have an al fresco dining district in downtown Arlington Heights, closing off streets. So rather than, as we were putting this together, Jason and I, since the last meeting, we didn't want to come to you and say, here's the amount, here's what we're saying. It goes along with the fact that, and of course my computer just went down, every May you have different costs for license fees, for different fees. So what we will do is we're going to do our due diligence. We're going to come back, and you'll have a cost for what we think, at least you're the policymakers, you'll decide what you think is a fair cost. But we didn't want to hold up Matt's from doing this. Other questions that may occur is, who else is doing it? I said Downers Grove, but if you've been in Hinsdale recently, where Fuller's is, El Poggio, and I forget there's another restaurant, a sushi restaurant. They've closed off. First Avenue used to be 2 ways, going both ways. Now it's just one, because what they've done is they kind of, around Fuller's, the parking is going to be outside, there's going to be food outside, and then down the street it kind of moves around. So again, taking parking, good problems to have, but the license agreement is something you've done before for other businesses. So we used that, we improved it. Jason gave me a long laundry list of things he wanted to make sure was covered. I think we've covered them all. We don't want people advertising on public property without, and then just basically, getting money from that. So we've covered that. We've covered a lot of items. We will come back to you shortly with the cost. You'll decide what, or at least the survey, and then you'll decide what you think the cost should be. You'll see that we have the opportunity. You had, in 2008, the village, for another business, had a license agreement, and then they set a cost for properties that use land within the downtown area. And we use that as a guide. I think that's at least what we're working on. But overall, these are good problems to have. We're not unique in this, and I believe that we have a very good template. What George said is right. We're going to now come back with all the different ones and have the same document, so we don't have we don't have 5 or 10 different. In fact, there was a question from someone today about, okay, we want special language in this. No, I refuse that, because I don't want to have to interpret every time to make it different. Mm-hmm. So by passing this today, you are allowing Matt's to, I'm sorry, you're allowing it to go forward, and then there will be an a document, or there will be a request for passage for the actual cost, which by signing this, they're agreeing to it. Put that in there. If they sign it, they agree to pay whatever the village determines. So hopefully that addresses any questions you may have, but I'm certainly able to answer anything.
So real quick, so Mike, the last time we talked about this as a group, you know, I know there's gonna be some inequities or perceived inequities from, you know, so-and-so's using this, so-and-so's using that. I think we need to work through each of those as a board when we talk about this, right? I know we talked about the, you know, the park downtown, we talked about, you know, the canal. I think, you know, what I'm getting at is, you know, let's see what you guys come up with the cost, but if there's an issue, I think the issue is do we want them on the property at all? And I think that's what we have to figure out as a board. You know, does, you know, owner A get all this square footage and owner B gets very small? You know, I think that's what we have to figure out, you know, case by case. And, you know, again, what we're trying to do is, I don't want to sit here and, you know, hey, this is a $10,000, I mean, from what you're saying, you're seeing nominal fees out there. It is what it is, but I
The
think.
city of Chicago did at Edison Park and in Beverly, especially at Edison Park, if you've ever been up there, it's right near Park Ridge. And they have been closing off streets just to have outdoor dining. And Arlington Heights is going full throttle with it this year. So, you know, it seems like it's everywhere, and it's one of the items from COVID that people got used to eating outside, and I think they like it, and it's something that business-friendly municipalities are doing.
Yeah, to me, what's the risk reward, right? If someone, like if Downers Grove, if they block 3 parking spots on the road, that's 3 less places, but it could be 50 more seats, right? I mean, so what's the risk reward?
Well, that's what a lot of the boards have done, is they're making the determination that they may lose some parking spots in places, but what they're gaining in tax revenue will more than make up for that. Knowing that this is something we've been working on, I think your antenna is up everywhere. So I was in downtown Hinsdale. I'm like, my God, they took out the whole block of all parking there, you know. And so it's something that, in knowing the owner of Fuller's, I asked what I said, you know, is there a fee in there other than an outdoor permit fee? No. And what they are thinking that the money they're going to make from the food and beverage and the sales tax is going to more than make up for the 4 parking spots in front of that.
Got it. Got it. So,
Is the insurance coverage the same for each one, or is it going to vary from place to place?
Thanks for bringing that up. Jason and I went through this. There was an old licensing agreement that the license or the insurance requirement in 2008 changes in 2022. So what we've done is we've required up to $1 million of coverage, but at my or whoever the village attorney is, after evaluating it, talking with Irma, whoever, we can make the change yearly to make that determination. So it's not set at $1 million, because you know, that could certainly change.
Did we check with one of the towns, Frankfurt?
I have, they'll be in our, Jason and I will be working on that to come back on that, but you know, the municipalities I represent, this is not, I've worked on that and some of my partners and as well. So, but not Frankfurt. Frankfurt is doing that as well, too.
Yeah, somewhat like Lamont downtown, but.
Yep.
LaGrange, Downers Grove, Westmont,
And-
they're all doing it.
You know,
did it,
even Evergreen Park's giving parking lots and letting them set up.
God bless you.
Bless you.
My only question is the next process now into what they actually do to that parking lot. How do we handle that?
Sorry.
We'll use the village code here with an application for outdoor dining and drinking area. So This is just saying you could use that piece of land, but it doesn't exempt them from the outdoor dining. And that's the stuff that.
There'll be
you're
fee for that
submitting
as well.
Permits, and it says, that's where you see all the aesthetic requirements, the types of furniture, the use of alcohol, time, all that is in that. So we had essentially waived those permits for the last 2 years because of COVID, so we're just bringing back the outdoor dining for this year.
But these are in addition, so the license fee will be in addition to the normal outdoor fee for all these.
Yeah, the outdoor dining
Is coming back.
at $100.
At this point in time, I can't support this ordinance for various reasons. Mostly, the cost that the village has spent on some of these things, like Budnick Plaza, $128,000, one business gets to use it. The barbecue, we tore down the building, built a parking lot, one business gets to use it, we lose 8 spots. Now, we gained 28 spots down Canal Street, but the reason Marbella gave us that land was because Marbella is not gonna have enough parking for all their apartments. So that was gonna be used for that, and from what I can see, when if and when they build the apartment building and use the reserve strip, there are 10 spots on the reserve strip, they're gonna be lost, that's 10, plus this 8, that's 18, plus some of the renderings I've seen of Marbella's on Lamont Street in front of Marbella, there's no parking on the west side, so that's another 6 spots. So altogether, 24 spots would be lost. And again, it's all this money that was spent by the village to do this. Now, if there's outside dining on a concrete, it cost the village almost nothing for the concrete. You know, it was like nothing at all. I don't have no problem with that, but when you tear down a house, pave a lot, or if you build a park and spend $28,000, and both of them are for one business. Now, some of these towns are making changes, but they're changes that help many businesses, not just one or two, you know. So I've got a problem with that. Plus, we don't know what the charge is gonna be. I think it should be multi-level. I mean, if you're got a fee out on the sidewalk, should be nominal. If you've got something like La Dolce Vita, where you've got a permanent structure on the sidewalk, that ought to be more. Same thing, if you take over a park, or if you take over a parking lot, that ought to be at a higher rate. Now, you got something like what Pollyanna's doing, it's basically on useless property. It's ours, we own it, but if you figure that into cost of what we paid for the canal and the square footage that's used, it's pennies probably. So, another thing is, did anybody ask the businesses on that street or the residents on that street how they felt about it? The fact that they're losing these nearby parking spots? I don't know. And at the car show, every Wednesday, that lot is used for a food court where many vendors can come in and sell their product. Now, that'll be over. So that's my complaint, and that's why I can't vote a yes on this one, so. That's my gripe.
Thanks, Ron. Anyone else?
Well, when you say it's to benefit one business, it's going to benefit everybody in the village that will use that business. Now, they're not going to eat in the same place every night, obviously. Now, I think it's like all the other towns are doing it. I think we got to keep up with the other towns to be competitive, and we got to bend backwards for all the businesses down here, because when they succeed, the whole town succeeds. So
But do they need that to succeed? I don't know.
I think
Does Diggs need the park to succeed? Does
I think yes.
Matt need that to succeed? I don't know.
I think all these businesses are all of a sudden succeeding because we are bending over backwards to make things happen for them. And I think that's my opinion. That's why I'll be voting for it.
All right. Anyone else?
So I'll just ask, the permit does not give them permission to do any permanent,
No, it's a
any
license.
changes to the structure
It's a license, right.
whatsoever?
That's why we drafted it. We worked really, Jason and I have talked this through, so we're probably blue in the face, right? So, but yeah, it does not allow that. In fact, we made a provision in it that if if need be, if there was a circumstance where there was an event that was going to require exceptional amount of parking needs, what we would do is, we have a temporary request where we could ask them to temporarily take and let us use it. So we try to anticipate even that. It's not, it's both, we can permanently ask them, or we can temporarily ask them as well.
It's a yearly permit.
It's a yearly, that's correct.
And to-
Again, I would like to see staggered lease prices, or license prices. Because like I say, if it's it's very little cost to the village for the concrete, for the sidewalk. Now you get something like La Dolce Vita, which builds a permanent structure on the sidewalk. That's a whole different thing. And like, again, with Diggs and with Matt's Barbecue, using properties that cost the village a lot of money, I think they ought to pay more than others, in my opinion.
And Ron, not to be, just like, when you talk like La Dolce, there's two places in Lamont that people in Lamont could go to 10, 15 years ago. It was La Dolce and Tom's, basically. And the reason they went to La Dolce's is you guys helped them out, and you made that exception to them. And you know what, that probably got them over the hump. Maybe now, it's time for them to renew that lease, and maybe it's time for us to look at pricing and stuff, but to your credit from years before, that's what helped them along, and that's what helped maintain those two businesses downtown.
And then after they built that, they built the addition on the back and made the building larger. So,
I do have another comment. We have looked at some other areas. We've had planners we brought in. So Ron, to your point about people who were using that particular area for food vending, for example, we'll have other places available to do just that. As long as this is as it is right now, I'll put it in a different perspective. It's a 1-year license agreement or permit. What do we call it? License or permit?
License agreement.
Okay, so it's a license agreement for 1 year. I would take the attitude, and I'll be voting for it, but I would take the attitude that this is essentially a seed money type thing on the part of the village to see how it goes. If we have major problems with it, we can amend it in a year, but we're trying to attract things here and to keep things going. So rather than getting in the way and stopping it, my point here would be, this is the village participating in a seeding effort to attract more business. If we make a few errors here or there, we'll have to adjust it, but that's why they're short-term, and we can do that. We're not locked in anything for any, period of time, like you are talking about with La Dolce. I remember that completely different than this circumstance, but Ken, I think you made a good point that we did reach out. We went over backwards to try to keep them there because they were in trouble at the time. And, things change, and we have to be able to change with it. So I call that being somewhat flexible and taking the attitude that we got to see what works, because we know for years nothing was working, and we're beating our head against the wall. So you got to try something different.
Yeah, I think, just going back a couple of years ago, the world was ending, right? And we thought we were gonna lose all of our businesses downtown. I remember, we're on these calls, we got owners, one literally was crying. And crying. This is their life. And we're here trying to be cheerleaders on the phone, trying to do everything we can. Then you fast forward like 18 months later, things are picking up again. Now it's like, but the point is, and Ron, I totally understand, hey, if we're taking parking spots away, but, all right, if La Dolce doesn't have that outdoor dining or Cornerstone or, Pollyanna or Next-Mex, what's there anyway, right? Are we really,
We'll have plenty of parking.
what's the cost, benefit, what is it really costing the village, of doing that? So anyway, I think, I think we all respect each other's opinions on this, and, it's just different ways of looking at it. So with that being said, any other comments?
My only comment is, I think this is a lease by lease, or a license
License by license.
Situation. Ron, I agree with you on a bunch of points you made. In this instance, I think we don't know when that building's going up in the space, and I think if we do end up with an issue on parking in that corner, we have to revisit letting them use the space at that time. I do have a question, though. They're not renewing the lease every year, right? This lease is good until termination, essentially.
This is a license.
Sorry, the license.
Yeah, it's it's a license upon termination, but in effect, yearly, it's actually at will. It's at will. I mean, we can
Yeah, at any time,
terminate
yeah.
at will. So it could be a 3-month, it could be a 6-month, it could be, but the trigger is there's a yearly license fee that the board will make a determination on what that is going to be.
Okay, so so basically, and that was the reason why I was asking the question is this one of those things where the board approves it once and then we never see it again, kind of like what happened with the Corey Van Challenge run, right? We never talked about it after the first contract, or is this something we'll end up talking about each lease, or license going forward?
Well, we built in, with the built-in, that yearly you have to go over the cost. So it'll be in the normal, so it will in effect,
Okay.
when that comes in, that'll remind the board that they have to make the determination.
Okay, with that being said then, in today's point, I would suggest that rather than having all these staggered dates of,
Yeah.
from implementation to a year from Joe Blow and a different year for Joe Schmo.
It's not.
That they all end at the same
They do,
time. And
make-
that way they could come before the board one time and, okay.
The fee is made, the way we've done it, we've
So
anticipated
it's
it.
technically, it's for a year, but it's our year, not their year.
Correct.
Okay,
The fee, though, follows the village's fiscal year.
okay, that's fine.
Adopt the new fee schedule.
I'm just saying, schedule-wise, it could be set up to come before the board to approve all of them or change some of them or whatever.
Absolutely.
Jason, would you know what the square footage is on the parking lot?
Don't remember, do you?
I do. I have an email somewhere. Hold on, give me 1 second.
Carve out the giant dumpster that's right there.
I thought it was like 400 feet. I thought we had that.
3,100 square
Or
feet.
3,100?
I believe it's 3,100.
Well, I counted 6 cars, so 6 times 10 is 60. And it's about 30 feet wide, that'd be 1,800.
The lot is, yeah, you had it at 3,100 square feet.
Okay.
And it would be $1 something.
That is, you're the policymakers, whatever you decide and make. Perform it.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely gonna be a long conversation.
And I will say, just based on looking at other towns, I mean, most of the other towns, Downers, it's a nominal fee. So I think.
I mean, Park Ridge.
We want to base it on some
Park
type
Ridge
of
was
science,
saying
but,
like
yeah,
$50. I mean, that's what Park Ridge was saying, but that's.
But that's up to the-
But that's.
But that's the point, though, some of these, I mean, I don't wanna get into this debate now, but the point that Ron made is absolutely right. Pollyanna's property is basically useless property for anyone else. Budnick Plaza, the park in Budnick, is a park that we spent a significant amount of money, and it was used for every event we have downtown. That plaza is full.
yeah, and
So I'm just saying, there's,
no, I see where you're, the only thing, if we try to look at appraised value though, the value of that canal land appraised higher than the Budnick Plaza property. So we just gotta figure out, what are we basing this on? And it has to be
And it'll-
something that's not
Usefulness,
arbitrary
yeah,
and
yeah.
not, so, but we could, let's go through that.
You gotta
in
keep in mind
detail.
too, they gotta get the insurance on it too, so that doesn't get.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not, yeah, I mean, that's for an,
right.
we'll talk.
Workshop.
We'll talk
It's a
more
Saturday
at the
workshop topic,
yeah.
Jason.
It's a- Saturday at
If
six,
it's at that beautiful deck that Pollyanna's
as long as TPI passes it.
That's another story.
All right. Okay, roll call, please.
Lafferty?
Yes.
Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Snakowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
No.
Kittredge? Yes. Maher?
yes.
All right, motion approved.
And the last one is the resolution R-1022, authorizing and supporting an application to the Invest in Cook fiscal year 2022 call for projects for improvements in relation to the Centennial Trail in the village of Lamont.
Okay, need a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by McClafferty, seconded by Maher. Jason, you taking this one?
So users of the Centennial Trail will be aware that there's an on-street gap between the DuPage County Forest Preserves, where the trail goes, adjacent to industrial users that the MWRD leases along the Sanitary and Ship Canal. If you keep traveling west of the Old Lamont Road Bridge, that trail is separated by a fish fence, effectively. So what village staff, staff with Department of Transportation and Highways. Am I crackling like that? MWRD and the Forest Preserve all agreed we need to come up with some sort of solution, but with four bureaucrats in the room, we couldn't figure out who was gonna lead that way. So, in discussion with Cook County, it was said that applying for Invest in Cook was the best approach to get the project on Cook County's radar. Actually, the hope is they see the value in it and kind of pick it up and take it on as their own project. Working with staff, there is a match requirement for an Invest in Cook project. So phase one engineering, that's sort of the early design stuff, is expected to be $250,000. So the village of Lamont would commit $75,000 as its match for this project. These applications are due on Wednesday, so we would know sometime this summer if you support it, if we got this or not.
Got it.
We've had good luck with Cook County lately.
Yeah, we had, they've been very responsive.
Yes.
Correct, George?
Yeah, we're working with them also on, Route 83 in Maine, the village-owned property. I was going to give an update. We had a positive meeting with Bluestone today on moving that project forward. Cook County is moving forward on selling a small piece of property out at that corner that is integral to one of the entranceways. So a lot of, again, many bureaucrats have tried, but we were able to get that on an agenda over at Cook County. And so May or June, we should have that finalized and we can enter into that redevelopment agreement. So we appreciate our partners at Cook County. We need them, and just all trying to align interest and bring economic development to the village. So.
Yeah, and they actually talked about economic development in our last meeting, which was good to hear. And they see what we're doing, and it's been very, it's pleasant to hear.
I keep getting confused with
Yeah, I
Rick.
guess he goes
Rick
in a
is
minute.
Kevin.
It might sound alike or something.
I didn't know my voice.
We gotta
was like
separate
this.
you two.
I'll speak much higher now.
His golf game is better than mine, though. So I just was wondering, is the township involved at all, and is there a way to share the cost with the township for our match, or?
It's a good.
I know it's sort of late in the game,
You know, right now it's just a commitment. We're not writing a check, but certainly we could explore with them. They do seem committed to doing pass, and we're looking at some other locations. A portion of this is unincorporated Cook County, actually. The lines out there are pretty tricky. There's a portion of it that's in DuPage County, but it's leased to Cook County Forest Preserve, so I think the phase one will kind of clear out all that, but I have no problem asking the township for some money.
What about MWRD or those businesses out there?
MWRD doesn't want to participate in the study of it. They say we don't do bike trails, but they support the concept of widening their road. That's not a real road, it's a private road. If you use it, you shouldn't be there. But they have extra space to widen it, so they support that. And I would think they might financially support that as well. They just don't want to be involved in the engineering.
Right, and, just to add a couple comments on this, I don't know how many people actually are out there. In the summer, I know John and Ken have been out there, and Janelle. This trail is really crowded in the summer. They added truck parking at the end of this drive, so the easternmost point of this drive. And in the summer, you'll have, in the middle of the day, you'll have 20 bikes at one time on the road in different points, just in this little half-a-mile section, at least 20 bikes. And now you got semis driving through the street, and the street is no wider than 2 cars. I mean, it is a really narrow street, and so you start. It is
No striping, no markings.
no striping, no markings. You got mulch all over because of the mulch work that's there. It really needs something out there. It needs something to be improved, and I think it's great that we're actually, trying to initiate this. Also, when we do our bridge, it's going to be even busier there. So I think it's just one thing that it's a really good thing to do, and I think, MWRD and whoever that business is at the end, sure would be nice to get them to help us a little too. So
Did they, were they, and I know you weren't here at the time, Jason, but I don't know what happened to the west. Were they involved in the paths on the west?
the path on the west has been the way it is the whole time. That's the difference. So as long as I've been.
Well, it didn't always have that fence and
Well,
everything.
the fence is for Asian carp. So they put those fences up, and the cement wall that you see there, all that is for the electrified Asian carp deterrent there, and that's Coast Guard, I think, right? Army Corps of Engineers.
The fence that runs parallel?
That fence was put up for that reason, yeah.
So they didn't get on the road or what?
So it's runoff, so.
If the Des Plaines River floods, it doesn't
If
go
it
into the
flooded, so they
sanitary ship.
wouldn't.
Yeah.
And
That
it does
fence,
actually.
Set a quarry.
Rick,
Okay.
that fence runs the length of the whole,
So basically.
Oh, I know, that's why I
The
just
whole river.
assumed they were involved in it. Okay.
and by the way,
Essentially asked the Army Corps to install a similar fence on this.
Well, I'm just surprised for safety reasons that MWRD wouldn't want to be involved in even the study, because the study does affect their road. you know.
As far as like the conversation, I
Okay.
think we'll have a letter of support,
the
but,
electrical fence
their in-house engineers are stormwater. and sewer
fixed
guys.
the
Okay.
They're not bike trail guys, so.
Well, that's the design, not the study.
Staying true to their mission, right? That's what they're doing.
Okay.
No, it's a good,
I could see me saying I wish they weren't involved too, so
There you go.
I'll stop.
Oh, yeah.
And-
It will
and-
be all green infrastructure if they were involved.
most people know this, but not everyone, but the forest preserve rolls up underneath the Cook County, right? So if
Yeah.
there's any, you know, if Cook County's for it, we'll have the backing of the forest preserve. The only question,
We already have a letter of support from the Forest Preserve District's president, and we'll get one.
this is the only question I have.
and DuPage.
If we're going to infringe on that private road, do we have to, does an entity have to pay for that? Do we have to pay for the extension of the road to the south to widen it?
Our hope is MWRD would pay for that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just thinking ahead here.
And to Dave's point, we'll have to get cooperation from those businesses. Hopefully they might kick in or help out. Because they're dealing with the bikes too. They don't want to be dealing with the bikes. So if there's something that can help them, they might kick up a few bucks for it too.
Especially, well, especially, yeah, definitely. But especially the mulch area, I mean,
Yeah.
John, you've been on there, that, you know, in the summer, that is, I mean, even without trucks, it's dangerous because it's just covered in mulch until
Yeah.
it rains, and it gets washed out. So it is very dangerous, and it's really a popular trail in the summer, and all COVID did was made it more popular. It's really, really popular, so.
I mean, you'll see literally 200 to 300 different people as you're, you know, going out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's crowded.
It's really packed. That's why even the bridges.
So, good. I mean, if we could, so this is the application. If we get it, then we have to, you know, do we want to spend this? Do we want to
Yeah,
spend
well,
the match, right? I mean,
If
is it-
if we are fortunate enough to get the grant, we'll come back and amend the budget. Right now, it's just, that's our intent to Cook Counties, that we'll provide that match.
Got it. Good. All right, cool. All right, roll call.
Ms. Lafferty?
Yes.
Shaughnessy?
Yes.
Snagowski?
Yes.
Stapleton?
Yes.
Ritchie? Yes. Maher?
Yes.
Okay, motion approved. Thank you, Linda. All right, next up, Mike, Village Attorney Report.
Nothing more.
Anything?
Thank you.
Okay. George, Administrator Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to reset the calendar for meetings coming up. We do have a committee of the whole next Monday, which we've talked about. We're going to have our budget. We're also going to have our water conservation ordinances, right, Chris? So we will talk more Joliet and Illinois American Water, Rick. We can get everything straightened out in the minutes, but more
another
so
meeting.
talking about our water, our
We could
conservation
get it to
ordinances.
flow as much as we talk about it, it'd be really good.
And then also, which made it through planning and zoning last week or 2 weeks ago, Jason, it's been a couple long weeks, but Glen Eagles subdivision, they've come through for entitlements, for annexation, plan unit development, rezoning. So that was heard in front of the Planning and Zoning Board earlier this month. So we're going to have our informal workshop here next Monday, the 21st at 6:30. So, and then but we'll start with Glen Eagles, then we'll go into budget, then the water conservation ordinance. Sorry, Chris. But
Yeah.
we haven't, so, no,
called
just,
wishful
and then we
thinking.
are, but we're giving everybody the night off on March 28th. That's a spring break in most school districts, so we are not going to be meeting on the 28th, and we'll come back on April 11th and have our next formal voting meeting where we'll approve the budget, have another public hearing, and other items as well. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, George. All right. Any other board reports? Staff reports?
Ralph, anything?
Ralph?
have nothing this evening. Nothing tonight, thanks.
Chris, Darshana, Jason, all good? Okay. All right, any new or unfinished business? All right, audience participation, George,
Yeah, so
take
this is
over.
the time of the meeting where, if you didn't want to speak on an item earlier today and just general comments, you can come up to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Hello, Jeanette. I did not receive any comments prior to the meeting, but this is your opportunity now to speak, Jerry or Jeanette, for open comment. All right, seeing none?
All right, thanks, George. Okay, no executive session tonight, so we need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by trustee Shaughnessy, seconded by trustee Maher.
Made it.
Was it you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Who was
Which
it?
one?
No. My pen made it. It's out of ink.
All right. With that being said, roll call, please.
McClafferty.
Yes.
Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Yagowski.
Yes.
Stapleton.
Yes.
Kittredge.
Yes.
Maher.
Okay, that ends our meeting for this evening. Again, everyone have a great St. Patrick's Day and have a great week. Thanks.